Hi, everybody, and welcome to another YouTube video. My name is Beatriz, and I am the founder of Be a Boss Coaching. I am a business and entrepreneur coach. Actually, scratch that. That was wrong. I am a clarity and strategy coach, and I wanted to create this new intro for an old video that I created a while back ago that I realized I never actually published. I think it was intended to be a podcast episode, and for some reason, I never actually put it out or published it out into the world. So I wanted to share it here now on YouTube. And this video is on burnout, something that I was constantly thinking about early in my entrepreneur journey is this fear around burnout. I am a self proclaimed introvert. I am a huge introvert. And I know that about myself. And in my journey as an entrepreneur, knowing that there's a lot of work that goes into putting yourself out there, putting yourself in front of a camera, networking perhaps, or making relationships, going out to events so that you can promote yourself and your business and really put yourself in the limelight. That takes a lot of work and energy. And I recently thought about what does it look like to navigate both my need for safety and comfort and also my need to expand. And I'm not just an introvert, I'm also somebody that prioritizes a lot of her healing. I am in my healing era, as I say. And in that process of prioritizing that, what it looks like sometimes is staying in safety and staying in comfort. And I have to discern when is it too much to stay in safety and when is it too much to stay in comfort. And I heard this from a recent podcast that I was listening to. It's called the Chris Cass podcast. So shout out to Chris Casares Neri. It's a wonderful podcast talking a lot about healing. And she recently had an episode with a woman called Davina Palik, and she brought this forward. And so I might send this to her to let her know that I've been thinking about that question when she brought that up in the podcast and in their conversation. And that really hit hard, like it hit home for me, especially also because I am in this moment in time where I am healing is a big part of my journey. And so, because that is a big part of my journey, and I'm also in this journey of entrepreneurship, creating a business around community and helping people and creating relationships, all of that requires some inner work. And it's a balance for me. So, with all that being said, I hope you enjoy this very old video that I made on burnout. Please come over to beabosscoaching.com to come check out more of my blogs and resources and YouTube videos and podcasts. That is currently now on hiatus, I guess. I take a break from it every few months, and then I come back in full force with new interviews and new insights. But I didn't want to take a break from YouTube because I enjoy creating YouTube videos, and hopefully I get to see a growing community here on YouTube as well. All right, that's enough. Hope you enjoy and leave a comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you at the end. Today, I want to talk to you about how to protect yourself from burnout as an introvert entrepreneur. I'm a self proclaimed introvert, to be honest. Let's just leave it at that, period, because I know that I'm the type of person that needs to be alone and needs to recharge on their own so that they can move forward in their lives. I know that sounds a little dramatic, but I truly am one of those people that get so scared about getting to a point of exhaustion and getting there. Like, I'm scared of being tired. That is how much of an introvert I am. Is I hate being exhausted. And we all know that introverts are people who get exhausted and their energy gets drained whenever they're having too much interaction with too many people. There's just a lot of socializing. It can be fun, but it is very draining. And I can truly relate to that. And I'm sure that a lot of people who are introverts don't even like to get themselves to that point. And if they have big dreams of starting a business. And the reason why they may have not started one is because they are afraid of burning out. They're afraid of the aspect of networking and socializing. This is for you. I want to take a moment to remind you all to come on over to beabosscoaching.com and download my free guide on how to ease yourself into the social media world as an introvert entrepreneur and how to get out of your comfort zone. I know that I'm definitely somebody that has had to navigate that journey for myself. And I would like to share that process with you the way that I did it. And it's just feeling so overwhelmed about coming on social media, having a social media presence, talking about their business, networking with other colleagues, other business owners, and wanting to get over that hurdle so that they can realize their dream of being a business owner. And I believe that this is for you if you're that person, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there who have big dreams and who have so much to share, so many solutions, so many products and services that they can really make an impact with. And the whole block of networking with people and putting yourself out there, not just on social media, but literally out there for the world to know who you are, what you do, and how you do it. That's very overwhelming. So I hope that this social media guide for introvert entrepreneur can really help you figure out what that could look like for you and help you ease you out of your comfort zone, because it is going to take that step and that decision to come out of your comfort zone. Okay, how to protect yourself from burnout as an introvert entrepreneur, because let me tell you, like, I'm an introvert entrepreneur. I get so held back about a lot of people knowing who I am. Growth scares me, and it scares me because I'm an introvert. So I know there's like this belief, this view that as I grow, I'm gonna have to meet more people, talk to more people, manage more relationships. And that really scares the heck out of me as an entrepreneur, because that feels draining. That feels like a lot of energy. So how do you protect yourself from burnout, especially as an introvert entrepreneur? Number one, become aware of your fear and the fear of burnout. Like, that is a true fear. Like, if you're an introvert, it means that you most likely you value self-care. You value being alone. You value restoration, recharging, things that bring you back to who you are, back to yourself. And that can be a value so high that it blocks you from doing the things that you'd also like to see yourself do, like starting a business, being your own boss, having that flexibility. And in order to protect yourself from the burnout, you have to first be aware of it. Like, you have to be aware that's a value that you really hold dear and close to your heart. If you're an introvert, it's likely that you will be someone that values alone time for your soul. And I think that you have to become aware of that fear first in order to know that that is a block that you might be having. So that's number one. Number two is reframe the idea of like having to spend so much energy networking with other people, creating relationships with other people, and remove that away from you and reframe that thought to, who do you want to impact? Who needs to hear the words that you need to say today? And it's something that I realized recently in my coaching and therapy sessions that I've had with my coach and my therapist. I've let her know sometimes I get so anxious about turning on my mic and turning on my camera and talking about things, my own thoughts, my own experiences. Like, what? Like, why would I do that? It makes me so nervous. But sometimes I have to step outside of myself and remember that there are people out there. My ideal client avatar is someone like me who has big dreams and aspirations of creating their own business and are struggling with figuring out what that looks like as an introvert and figuring out what that looks like as a woman of color, BIPOC queer entrepreneurs who probably have felt like they can't take up a lot of space. And so, how do you want to show up? who can you impact today? Even if it's only one person, who can you impact today that needs to hear this? That it's outside of your own fear and your own anxiety and your own everything. Like, how can you let go of that ego? So, reframing a thought from I'm nervous, I'm anxious to who needs to hear this? Who can benefit from this today? Who can I inspire today? Who can I really truly impact today? Okay. Number 3 is creating a self care plan. I will have self care upfront all the time. Like, that's just who I am. But it can get in the way of the work that I need to do whenever I become fearful of exhaustion. It takes a lot of energy to think ahead and to think about all the things that we want to do and know that it's going to keep growing and growing. And feeling that exhaustion ahead of time needs a self care plan ahead of time. You might get exhausted from talking, from showing your face, from creating anything that's going to put you in the spotlight. And you have to create a plan that's going to mitigate all of that exhaustion and know that you might get there. It's true, you might get there, but that doesn't mean that your values are being compromised. It just means that you're learning how to value them differently. Like your beliefs, you're learning how to value your beliefs in a different way. So creating a self-care plan to know that I'm going to talk to my coach and my therapist at a specific time and date, because that's where I can let out all this fear. That's where I can let out all of this anxiety, all of this self-doubt. That's where I can let out all of these thoughts that I'm having, even if I'm not making sense, even if all of my thoughts are scattered. That's the place and the time where I can truly just let go. And that is part of my self-care plan. I also need to make sure that I have some time for me to sleep in, that I have some time for me to work out, that I have some time for me to eat whatever I want to eat, that I have some time to spend with friends and family. Sometimes I can't do all of that in my self-care plan sometimes. Maybe 1 or 2 things need to be out of that, but there's a plan that I can always come back to when I know that if I'm feeling exhausted, if I'm feeling like I have spent so much energy talking, taking up space because I'm not used to it, that I can recharge. And I know that I know how to do that ahead of time. And number 4 is, of course, seeking coaching, seeking therapy, whether it's one or both. It doesn't matter as long as you have a space to voice your fears, your anxieties, your thoughts, anything that you have going on in your head, anything that's helping you feel stuck, anything where you're feeling stuck, where you're feeling exhausted, like where you can just let it out. I honestly wish I had more time with my therapist. Like, I wish I sometimes could talk to her twice a week, but it really does help to know that there's a place and time for me to just let out whatever I'm feeling. And it doesn't need to make sense. My thoughts don't need to make sense. My feelings don't need to make sense, but that's just how I'm feeling. And for me to know that I have that space and someone can hold that for me is very invaluable. And I can let it out, and then I can create a plan for how to move forward, for how to turn that fear into courage and to continue making the impact that I want to make. I think I've told you guys that whenever I do a podcast, I feel like I'm out of breath, but it's really because I'm not used to talking this much on a podcast or in general. Like, I'm just not used to talking, even when I have my own therapy and coaching sessions. Even though I'm the one who shares the most, I obviously have room for my own coach and therapist to say what is on their mind. But this is just me talking, and I'm talking to somebody even though I have someone in mind, but it's still just me talking. I hope that this was helpful, especially for those of you who have big dreams, who want to become entrepreneurs, who want to become business owners, but there's like this fear, like there's a self-care value that you have. And if you're an introvert, like I said, you most likely have this value because you know what it takes for you to become exhausted, but you also know what it takes for you to restore and to recharge. And sometimes when we know what it takes, when we're like out of energy, when we don't have enough left in us, we avoid that. And I'm definitely one of those people. I avoid it like the plague. I hate it sometimes when I make plans in advance And then the day comes and I'm exhausted. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I make this plan so far in advance? But then if I don't make plans in advance and someone asks me to join them for an event the day of, I don't have the mental bandwidth to say yes because I didn't mentally prepare. So it feels like a catch 22. And I have to navigate my moments of energy. I have to figure out the ways that I can maximize my energy. It's very tricky. I hope that if you're someone with a business idea that you want to bring to life, don't be scared of getting yourself to that point because you can always have a plan. You can always reach out to support. You can always turn your fear into courage. If you really truly value self-care and you don't like getting burned out, you will know when you get to that point and you can take care of it. That's why we as introverts are some of the best entrepreneurs. We can run a marathon. We don't just run sprints. We can run a whole marathon and we know that we'll be okay. It's just knowing that sometimes we don't want to get ourselves to those moments of burnout. It's not fun. And we hate letting people down. So if we make plans in advance and then the day comes and we're exhausted, we hate putting those boundaries. So I get it. I get it. We don't want to seem flaky, but sometimes we got to take those risks and again, turn our fear into courage and know that we are doing the best that we can. And I know the right people will understand. All right, y'all. I hope that was helpful. You got this. If this really resonated with you, share this on Instagram or even on TikTok, screenshot it and let me know what you thought. Give me some feedback. I'd like to, and if you need help, come on over to beabosscoaching.com, book a call with me, send me a contact form, and I'd love to help you out and see how we can get you on that journey and help you reframe any of your fears into actionable steps. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.